All right, so we are continuing with the coordinate plane. We're gonna spend a lot of time this week working with the coordinate plane. So let's look over here real quick at our essential question. And it says, what is the coordinate plane and to be, does it relate to the number lines? So, portion is right. So you make sure. Can I carry on? My bad. Alright, so help me demonstrate this essential question a little bit. What's coordinate plane? Coordinate plane. Go.
Coordinate plane is the four coordinate boxes
Okay, so it's got 4 quadrants. Okay, you said it's a grid. Alright, what else? What else is a coordinate plane? Elizabeth?
they can help you they can help you save the different coordinates.
So it allows you to plot points? Yes, no? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. What else? Gabby?
It's basically two number lines, which is the X and Y axis.
Okay. Anything else we want to say about the coordinate plane? Alright. How does it relate to number lines? So based off of what Gabby just told us, how does it relate to number lines? Joe?
Number line what makes it a coordinate plane?
Right. So it's got what type of, it's got 2 types of number lines. Tell me what, so you said, okay, what type of number lines are those?
Y axis.
Okay, but give me something else, like the direction, or what we would call this kind of line, what we call this kind of line. No, 2, but the vertical line, then what other kind of line? So the vertical line goes up and down.
Straight line?
Okay, anything else we want to say about it relating to number lines? Okay, that's fine. Alright, so you were starting with your warm-up today, talking about the English winter. So it says the following data were collected over one December afternoon in England. So this is the time afternoon, so this is noon, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8. So looking at these 3 graphs over here, it says which set of axes would you choose to represent these data, and then explain why the other 2 sets of axes did not seem as appropriate as the one you chose. So again, you're picking 1, 2, or 3 for this one, explaining why you picked that one, and then you're explaining for 2 why the other ones did not work. So go ahead and do that. Take your headphones out of your ear, please. Alright, I'm going to give you, I'll say 5 minutes. If you finish before that, please stand up. Bless you. have anything written on your paper stuff. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. Alright, so stand up if you picked A as the grid that would work. Okay, stand up if you picked B as the grid that would, did you pick A? Okay, that's fine. Stand up if you picked B as a grid that would work. And then stand up if you pick C as a grid that would work. Alright, so let's start with A. So Elizabeth, you picked A, correct? I have a question, Elizabeth. Do you have negative numbers in your data?
Yeah, I didn't look at it quickly. I just looked at the ones that were like first.
Okay, and that's fine. So then why would A not work?
To me, it was because the words, for B and C were intertwining, so I didn't think that was correct. Because on other ones, they weren't like in the way. So,
So you're saying these two, the words were in your, or the numbers and stuff were in your graph, so, okay, alright. That's fine. Alright, A does not work. And the biggest reason it does not work is because it doesn't allow you to plot negative numbers. If you have negative numbers in your graph, you have to be able to plot those numbers. You can't just get rid of that data. Alright, the majority of you guys picked B, so Andrew, you picked C. Why did you pick C?
Because the second graph was really sloppy and you couldn't really tell what the numbers were. And just see what was better.
Okay.
Ones with negatives.
Okay, so it's got the requirement of the negative numbers on there. It's a little bit bigger, it's zoomed in a little bit closer, right? So, question. This one looks super small,
yeah.
right? But Andrew, let's take a close look at our numbers. So the highest number you have is 8, right? So essentially, if you're using this graph, all of your points are going to fall like that. All in this teeny tiny little space right here. Not saying that it's wrong, just saying, is it the best one? Okay. And the reason it's not the best one is just honestly the increments. So like this is essentially going up by tens. Our numbers go up by what? By what? Ones. Alright, so having a graph that has a smaller increment would be the best for the set of data. So B is the best graph, and I know that it's sloppy and I know it's small, but it's essentially going up by 2. So it's 2, well actually it's going up by 1s, but the numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 on there. Alright, so the explanation, if I can get one from someone who picked B, why is B the best? Patty? It what? I'm listening.
Even though it's a little smaller, it still has the right
Still has the right.
number.
Okay, we said A is not, because why? Kira?
It doesn't allow you to plot negative numbers on it.
I don't know what y'all are doing over there, but you need to stop. Alright, and why does C not fit? Andrew?
Because the increments are too big.
So it's not, they're not multiple, that was the word I should use. they're not multiples of 10, but they're multiples essentially of 1. And the reason why I need to change that word is for the lesson today, because essentially we are going to be constructing graphs, and multiples are essentially a big thing of how you construct that graph. So, multiples are too big. Alright, so just kind of getting our brains thinking about coordinate grids again. I know we talked about this a little bit on Friday, but we've had an entire weekend and we forget lots of things. Alright, so we are going to be drawing the axis, the x and the y axis, and we're going to be plotting these points. So it says, here's 3 sets of coordinates. For each set, draw and label an appropriate pair of axes and plot the points. So let's look at our points. We have 1, 2, we have 3, -4, we have -5, -2, and 0, 2.5. What do I need to do? Because I have a grid, but what do I not have on this grid to start with? What do I not have on the grid to start with, Lily?
Y-axis, x-axis, and y-axis.
Okay, so, and your x and y do not have to be like perfectly centered, but something that will obviously help us is if you count the number of lines you have. So it's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So they played very nice and they gave us an odd number. It's always nice when you have an odd number of lines because why?
There'll be one in the middle.
There'll be one in the middle. So 13, what's essentially half of 13? 7.5. Well, we're not going to do 7.5. We're going to count to that 6th line. So, or the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this should technically be my x-axis if no, 7. This should technically be my x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is your 6th line. This is your 7th line. This is going to be my x-axis. So take and darken this line. 7 lines up from the bottom or 7 lines down from the top, whichever one you want to do. So you have to count on your paper, 7 lines up or 7 lines down, and then just darken that line and label it as X. Alright, and we're going to do the same thing going across. We have to find out how many lines are going across. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Alright, so if we have 17, what line are we going to?
The 8th.
The 8th line? Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You sure? Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then this line, your 9th line, is your Y. If I could draw a straight line, that would be fantastic. Alright, so now we have our X and our Y axis. Now that we have that, does that change everything? And are we able to essentially plot these points that they gave us?
Yes.
Okay, why did we have to show an X and a Y and also have the ability to plot negatives? Abby?
Because it only gave us like a graph and if we didn't plot,
Say that again?
wait, what's the question?
I said, why do we have to have a graph that has negatives?
Oh, because in the numbers, it has like -4 and -5.
Okay, so if you have negative coordinates, guys, you have to have the ability to plot those. Now, do we need to make our graph this centered? Not necessarily, again, depending on your negatives. Some of them you can make, maybe bigger, one of the quadrants depending on your coordinates. But just to construct, I prefer just putting it right in the middle. It makes it a lot easier for everybody. So this first coordinate, this first order pair, 1, 2, bless you. What are our multiples going to be on our lines? So like, bless you, how are we going to increase on our lines? Are we going to increase by 2s, by 5s, by 1s? What do you guys want to do? What do you think is the most reasonable for this? Andrew? Why? Okay, so I mean, essentially, like we don't have large numbers, right? so we can probably keep it fairly simple. So essentially, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and the 1 goes with this line, 2 goes with that line, 3, so on and so forth. Same thing going up, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going negative, you have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. And then going down, you have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And the line that the numbers go with, so for the positive to the right, the line is the one to the left. For the positive going up, it's the one underneath it. For the negative going left, it's the one after it. And for the negative going down, it's the one above it. So make sure also you know where your numbers go for your lines. All right, so let's go ahead and plot this first point. 1, 2. So tell me the quadrant that it's gonna fall in, and then how to get there. Do you wanna use a different color for this? You guys can, okay, so if you wanna use a different color, you can. Abby,
The first one, every quadrant is 1,
okay,
0, 1, and you go up 2.
so I'll go over 1 and up to, go over 1, what do you mean?
So like 1 to the right
Okay,
and up 2.
okay, so this is going to be 1, 2 right here. All right, so the next one, 3, -4. Someone tell me what quadrant that's gonna be in and how to get there. What quadrant is it gonna be in and how do I get there? Bryson?
1 to 4.
And how do I get there?
Go to the right, go down 3.
Okay. The next one is -5, -2. Tell me what quadrant I'm gonna be in and how do I get there, Lily?
You're gonna go to quadrant 3. And if you go to the left 5. And then down 2.
Eighth grade teachers, will you please report to the conference room? Eighth grade teacher.
Okay, and, the last one, 0, 2.5. So 0, 2.5.
I don't think it'll be the quadrant. I think it'll just be located on the y-axis, and because 0 would be the origin, and that's the x, that's your x point. So you go up 2.5 on the right.
Okay, perfect. So the last one does not fall on any quadrants. It, like Addison said, it falls actually on your y-axis because you're not going anywhere on your x-axis because of 0 being that x coordinate. So with this one, and I'm gonna do this in a different color so it stands out a little bit. So you start here and you simply go up 1, 2.5. So that is your point for that one. So this point is 0, 2.5. Okay, what's the only quadrant that we did not plot in? The only quadrant we didn't plot in, Ben?
Quadrant 3.
What?
Wait, no, quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2. And if I were you guys, if you are looking at a graph and it doesn't have the quadrants written on it, I would most definitely always put them on. It's just a little bit helpful. All right, so First one, kind of bringing back some of the stuff we did last week. Okay? All right. B. Look at these numbers. Look at the numbers. What do you notice about the numbers? So your ordered pairs are 50, 50, 0, 0, negative 10, negative 30, negative 35, 40. So what do you notice about these numbers compared to the graph that we just constructed?
Larger numbers.
Much larger numbers, right? So you'll notice that your graph is exactly the same lengthwise. Is it the same height-wise? I don't know, y'all tell me. Someone count the lines and tell me if it's the same height-wise. So from bottom to top, is it the same? Huh? So it's exactly the same. So can the X and the Y, can we construct it the same by counting the number of lines that we went in and the number, so go ahead and do that when you have that done, stand up. Don't put any numbers on it, just simply find your X and your Y. Alright, also go ahead and label your quadrants while you're waiting. So just put your Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 in there. Alright, I'm going to have you as a group figure out what you think our multiples should be on our lines, on our X and our Y axis. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes, plus you, to figure out in your group what you guys think would be the best multiples or numbers for your line. Let's go.
It's 5 or 15.
Like 5, like we could just put a half in there. Let's just do like half.
Make sure you have a reasoning as to why you're doing No, not yet. Don't write it yet, guys. You're just coming up because you don't know, it might not necessarily be the right thing. So before we write it down, give me a thumbs up once your group has come up with your multiples. Alright, so who would like to share what their group came up with? Alright, Lily?
Our 15 is going by 10.
By 10? Okay.
Even we were talking about how even the negative 35, that since it was sort of like how we were doing the 2.5 and 2 30.
Okay. Alright. Did anybody come up with something different? So everybody said multiples of 10? Okay. Why not 5? Why not multiples of 5? Gabby?
Because there's not enough lines, we don't have enough room to draw more lines, we only go by 5, so we would
Okay, so having the number of lines also determines what your multiples can be. Why not by like 25? Or 20s? Why not go by 20s? Ramon?
Because it wouldn't be able to make 35. Or
But you could make 35. It would be a lot harder to try and find that 35. All right, anybody else have a reason why 20 or 25 would not work? All right.
Because in our numbers, we have like a negative 10 and like
It's okay to skip over a number. It is okay. I don't want you guys to get in the mindset that you have to have every single number on that number line. So it's okay if 35 and 10 were on there and you're going up by 20s. But why does 20 not work? So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Why would that not work for our data set? Kira?
It's like the graph in the beginning, graph C. It could fit, but all the numbers would be like just about in the same place.
Okay, so essentially the multiples are too big. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and label. So we're gonna have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. We don't need anything higher than that. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. All right, let's go ahead and plot our points now. So someone first and foremost tell me what quadrant the first point's gonna be, and then how do I get there? All right, Callie,
It'll be quadrant 1.
quadrant 1. Okay, how do I get there?
You go up 50,
Nope,
up 5,
nope,
to the right.
yes. So I go to the right to 50, right? What direction do we always have to go first, Callie?
Right or left.
Right or left, okay. All right, so that's the first point. All right, where is the second point? 0, 0. Where is that gonna be? Alex, where's 0, 0 gonna be? Remember, whatever you're playing with, please stop.
0, 0 is going to be in the middle.
Right in the middle. So we're not going to the right, left, or anything. So what quadrant is it in then, Alex?
It would be 0, 0 would be in between.
It'd be where?
It'd be in between all quadrants.
Right, so essentially 0, 0 is the origin. All right, the next point is -10, -30. Tell me what quadrant that's gonna be in and how do I get there? Andrew?
and then 1 and 3. And go left 10. And down 30.
Okay, and then the last quadrant, or last point is -35, 40. Where's that one gonna be? All of you guys have the right increments and stuff, so just, I need a little bit more participation. Joe?
You go to the left in quadrant 2, 3, and then when you go half of 3, well not half, you go into the next one, half, and then you go up 4 times, and then you have your point.
Okay. All right, so how do we feel about making our own grids and our own graphs? Okay, what do you think the hardest thing is going to be for when you're constructing your own graph? Lily?
Getting the right numbers to have a graph like that.
Right, so being able to look at your coordinates and say, okay, I need to do, excuse me, this set of numbers, or increase by 1s, 2s, 5s, 10s, 50s, whatever. All right, so flip your paper over. All right, totally forgot about this morning. So before we move into this, because this is going to be an independent activity, go back to your battleship page. All right. You are going to get about 10 minutes to play this game, this battleship game. So it says arrange your 4 ships secretly on the grid below. Each ship occupies a number of consecutive squares. Must be arranged in a straight line, so you can't go like in a circle or anything like that. They can be arranged horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. See below for the type of ships and the number of squares for each ship. The ships cannot overlap, 1 ship per square. Take turns calling out a square, for example, B2. Tell the partner if they miss or hit your ship. Put X for a hit and a dot for a miss on each grid. When all of the squares of a ship have been hit, this ship is sunk. You must tell your opponent, and he or she sinks one of your ships. When all of one player's ships have been sunk, the game is over and the other player wins. So, if you're looking at your ships, you have a battleship, which is 5 squares. You have a destroyer, which is 4 squares, submarine 3, and a patrol boat 2. So let's say that Ben and I are partners. Obviously, you do not want your partner to see your board, right? So whether you put an iPad between us or you hold an iPad in front of yours and Ben would hold an iPad in front of his. So over here where it says your ships and opponent shots, this is where you're putting your ships. So for like my battleship, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so like for circle, whatever, I totally did that wrong. Disregard me. Use a color, not X's, because that means that it was a hit. So like you'd use a color to essentially do your ship. So that would be my battleship. And then my destroyer, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. My submarine, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And my patrol boat, I'm going to do 1, 2. Again, I don't want Ben to see this. So essentially, like, you're going to do this once you sit down with your partner. He's got his, I've got mine. Now, Ben's going to call out D4. So Ben calls out D4. I'm like, oh man. So that's a hit. So I put an X right there, and I let him know it's a hit. And then I call out F7. And Ben says if it's a hit or a miss. So Ben, is it a hit or a miss? Okay, so I would just put F7. I'm just going to put a dot right there, knowing that I missed. So obviously there's nothing in that square that I want to keep going. All right, and then you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, any questions about your battleship? Why are you doing that, child? Like, you are a mess today. Focus, son. So once you get there, please take your iPads with you. So again, you can put it up so that they can't see where your ships are. Okay, you should not be making your ships right now, because if you walk over, your partner is going to see your ships. So your ships are not being made. You're making them once you sit down. All right, I'm going to give you 3 minutes, 2 minutes to find a partner, a place to sit, and get your ships done. Ready, go. Make sure you take your iPads with you so you block your page. You guys have a minute and a half. You guys have 1 minute. Okay, go sit outside. You'll be in the door there, this side of it. Alright, so at this point, your 10 minutes of playing has started.
Wait, what did I just say last time? G six. Yes. What? G six.
Why are you looking? You got a cheater. He's already looking at my thing.
So G6. Where'd you go? Miss. No way. But you didn't put down any shirt. I did. There's no way. The keyboard is not that big. Five. A1. Miss. No way. Covered the whole board. Hit. Got it. Now C4. Miss. No, wait, I don't believe you. I'm looking at your board when you're done. It's just gonna be covered in dots. E8. I'm gonna get this. You're smiling, you lied. What? Was that a hit? Yes. What is it? I'm still going. I know you have a battleship there. A D5. Miss. Miss. Okay, that means I got rid of it. You surrounded my thing. A D7. You got a yes. What? Read the rules. Alright, H8. Alright, that's cleared out that boat. It was. Means I got rid of your destroyer. Five. Which king of the pit? Don't waste up for you. I lied about you. Lied. So I only hit 2. So I lied about the first one. You can't. It's too late. I marked that as dead. It's not dead. It's too late. It's not dead. It's too late. I told you it was a starter. F4. Go. Whoa, 6. Bro. Alright. F4 hit. Now you got rid of my submarine. Like, actually, serious. I'm gonna mark it as dead. Yeah. You can't. I'm looking. No, I don't. Or you look. You're wrong. Alright, E3. Miss. Oh my god. Something got really short. Alright, go. Two. No way. There's no way. Yes, you are. Look at your. Isn't it? Why would I lie about a kid? Wait, you're not joking? No! G2. G2. No way. Oh my god, you don't have to look at levels. Wait, they didn't actually place
All right, head back to your seats.
Let me see it. See the
All right, did we have any winners?
We didn't have enough time.
That means you did. Move fast. Go, Addie.
Use it?
Huh?
Okay,
No. Why would you not use that?
Miss Kenny.
I'd rather get the grade.
You will get a grade.
Miss Kenny.
It's a free grade. Take it every now and then. All right, so, I was going to have you guys do this as independent. I'm a little like, so let's go over the instructions and everything, and then we'll see how we feel. So it says here is a maze on a coordinate plane. The black point in the center is 0, 0, or the origin. The side of each grid square is 2 units. So this is where essentially the beginning is. And if you want to draw your line so you can see it, this is your x-axis right here. This is your y-axis right here. And each one of these, so like this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So they go up, they go up by 2s. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Same thing here, so it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay? You are doing just inside this dark box right here. So those are the numbers that you're gonna be using. Now, as in any maze, you're trying to go from the start to the finish and get through it. So what you're doing in this maze is essentially they've already given you, this is your start, and this opening down here is your finish. Okay? So they've gone from here to here, and they've gone from here to here. And the directions for number 1 says, it says, enter the above maze at the location marked with a green segment, which is the red segment that I just drew. Draw a line segment to show your way through and out of the maze. Label each turn point with a letter, then list all the letters and write their coordinates. So from here, I would say I'm gonna go from here to here. Okay? That's just what I'm gonna do. So then I would go and I'd say, okay, this is -2, -4, 2, 1, 2, that's in the middle. So this would be point A for me, and I would do A, and then I would do, sorry, I guess that would be -3. -3, +5. So that would be my first coordinate. And I will project the original so you can kind of see all the lines, because I know it's a little bit hard with this copy. You can't see the lines as well. But then from there, you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go straight over, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go. Because remember, you drew this line right here, that doesn't mean you can't go through that. It just means that now you know where your x-axis is. And you have to list all of your points that you plot. So from this line segment to the next one, wherever you go, you're gonna put the next point, label it B. Do you think, honestly, if I paired you, you would actually get it done? That's the question. That's what I'm worried about. Because we like to chit-chat and socialize a lot more than we're supposed to when we work together. Or do you think that this is something that you can do on your own? So like, give me a thumbs up if you're like, I feel like I could do this on my own if I had to. So the fact that people didn't vote, what do you think that's gonna make me do? Make you do it on your own, right? When I ask for input, y'all, I need it. This is not saying that that's what you're gonna do. I just need to know if you will be able to do this on your own if I assign it as an independent activity. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I just need to know. So either thumbs up, yeah, you're good. Middle thumb if you're like, I'm not exactly sure. Down thumb if you're like, no way. Are you able? I ain't even trying to see that. I'm not trying to see that. Yes. Just based off of your participation. Okay. So number one, plotting, listing. Plotting, listing. Number two says choose any two turning points that share the same line segment. What is the same about their coordinates? So either your x is going to be the same or your y is going to be the same, and you should have to explain why they share this feature. I am going to allow you to work together, but let me catch one group off task. One group is all it's going to take. Okay? This is what you're doing for the remainder of class, and you will do your cool down at the beginning of science today. Okay? If you finish before the end of class, come and get your cool down. If you do not, that is fine. You will have time in science to work on it. Okay? So please take your time. If you need to use a different color, you can. Find a place around the room to work and get started, please. Make sure that you can see the TV so that you're able to actually see what